Hi guys, welcome back to the shed. In this video I'm going to be painting this race hump. The idea is I'm going to turn my bike from a twin seat to a single seat conversion, and this was the only way I could think to do it in the easiest possible way. So what I'm doing here is I'm just preparing it. It's already been cleaned with acetone and degreased fully. So now I'm just using very short bursts and making like a primer surface for it. Very, very thin coat. I'll do that 2 or 3 thin coats. The idea of this is to create a reasonably good base. Once the paint has had some time to dry, in this case I've waited 2 weeks for the paint to dry fully and cure before I go back to it and give it a really good first cut. Now to do that I'm actually using wet and dry paper, and I'm using a 1500 grit paper, and the reason why I'm using 1500 grit is purely just because I want to make sure that I slowly cut into the surface. By doing it this way I'm only going to be removing a very small amount and ensuring that I only take off the high points, and what I'm aiming for is a uniform surface, so it's otherwise referred to as matting or flatting back.
To be honest, I'd rather take the time on it to get it right and have to constantly keep respraying it.
Okay, so this is what we're left with. I've gone over it a couple of times. There's a very, very small amount of this mark here, but I think once that's sprayed over one more time, as I'm going to have to spray it because I've broken through the black here on the edges, like I probably knew I would do. All of that mark there is pretty much gone. You can hardly notice it. Once there's another layer of colour over it, you won't notice it anyway. I'm sure this isn't the quickest way to do it. I'm sure there's probably people that will say in the comments, well, you know, you could have done it a different way, but learning curve at the end of the day. Yes, there's a couple of marks here, but again, once I've got the lacquer on the top, you shouldn't notice. I probably will go over this edge again just to make sure, and possibly this little spot here. But other than that, there's no noticeable marks really. Pretty pleased so far. It's a long process, but it's not something that I can spray out here. I don't have a designated spraying booth, and it's definitely under the temperature of doing it. So I'm literally going to take this inside, give it a good clean, give it a spray, and then we'll go from there. And the next time you see me, I'll be out here again. Probably ready to lacquer. Fingers crossed.
The only, I don't know if you can see it, just about there, that little mark where the shade is. That's a minor imperfection, and there on the end there, that tiny little drip mark. So I'm going to sand it right down again, and then not bust through anywhere, but I'll lacquer it. Once those go back to a uniform flat colour, then you can go back over with more paint, or you can lacquer it. If they've got like a metal fleck in them, then you cannot do this process, because as soon as you start using wet and dry on a metal fleck paint, it will move the metal flecks around. It won't look nice at all. Well, here I'm using 2000 grit paper for an even finer finish. This will be my final finish before going over with the lacquer. Again, I'm being careful not to go over the extreme edges and the curved radiuses. If you go over those, then it's just going to wear away a lot quicker, because there's not that much paint on those curved edges. Here we are, and I think it's ready for its first coat of lacquer. So I've got some Halford's lacquer, which is pretty much the same as the stuff I've used before. I'm going to put some of this clear lacquer on top of it and hope that it turns out alright. These are some shots of the finished article. What do you think of it? I'm really quite pleased with it. It's almost perfect in my eyes. For me, that's the best that I've managed to get on the spray can. Hopefully you like this video, and if you do, please give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching. See you on the next video. Ride safe.